was.
She's really going big.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan, and I'm the pastor and executive director here. This is Noelle. She's our community director here, and it's good to be with you all tonight. It's good to be back. Last week, we and the family were out in Moab. It was Tammy's birthday on Saturday.
Happy birthday, Tammy. Yeah.
And, we played in the mountains.
27 last week.
27 years old.
That's right.
And I really robbed the cradle on that one. All right, y'all. Hey, to give you the reminder, we are a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there is, of course, one thing we do not do, and y'all can count it out on the count of 3. And y'all online, welcome to you all. You can shout it out with us on the count of 3 as well. All 4 words. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame in this community. Noelle, tell us some other things that are coming up, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Your hair looks great, by the way. Well, you changed it up.
Noelle, what you need to know is blondes have more fun. All right?
Okay.
I went back to my natural color, and that's the way I roll.
We're going to pray for him and his hair color.
Okay.
If tonight is your first night here, welcome. We are so glad you're here. We have welcome bags right outside this door. They have a little bit about what we do here at Free Spiritual Community. There's some fresh roasted wagon coffee. There's some information on what wagon coffee is all about, and just some other free swag. So please grab one on your way out, and just know that we are so glad y'all are here. Last Sunday, we had a day of service in community here at Free. Was anyone here that participated? Ben,
Woo!
I know you were. Oh, so shout out to Home Team for organizing that. It was such a great event.
It was great.
And tell them about the floor. It was incredible.
I know. So Courtney and Buddy, somehow there have been stains on this center aisle for months and months and months. I could never get it up, and I was mopping. And anyway, they got out their teeth or some sort of knives or whatever, and those things are gone off the floor, and it's the first thing I noticed. I mean, a lot of stuff happened here while I was away, but that happened.
That's great. So we did a bunch of cleaning inside the building and then a bunch of light gardening work outside, and we barbecued, and it was a great time. So
yes, thank you all.
It was interesting that we organized that while you were out of town. But,
I know.
Yeah,
I was
funny how that works. We are starting our June book study. So this Tuesday, and you all know we have our book studies in our back room here, in the couches in the big room. And it's just a great time and great discussion. So this summer, it's on Accidental Saints by Nadia Bowles-Weber. So 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. in this room in the back. Kavita over here, raise your hand. Kavita and Jackie are going to be running that for us. So join us.
And Nadia Bowles-Weber is she's in recovery. She's got many years in recovery. She's a New York Times bestselling author. She's been here to Free. She's a friend of Free, and so this book is really good. I hope even if you aren't able to attend on those Tuesday nights, read it. I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah,
absolutely, great book. And if you are not up on the reading, it's. These book studies that we have, it's always a great discussion where you can participate whether you're up on the reading or not. So please come if you're looking for something to do on Tuesday evenings. And if you're looking for how to get involved in Free and in the community, our tech team back there, Bobby and Chris, they're needing some help. And so the best thing about tech team is you don't need to know anything about tech. They'll teach you all you need to know. And it's just a great way to get plugged in here at Free and just be of service and kind of be on our team with us. So please see Bobby or Chris in the back if you're interested in hanging out on Saturday nights, learning how to work some of the cameras and helping us out. So thank you.
Thank you, Noelle. And if you want to give that mic to Darren, where's Calvin? Is Calvin in here? Yes, and by the way, huge gratitude and thank you to our tech team who does so much work on these Saturday nights. So thank you all for being here and all the work that you do. Grateful for y'all. Speaking of grateful, that's how we begin on a Saturday night. We start with celebrations. We lift up the good. We lift up whatever the good thing is in your life. A really important part of our service, our time together of celebrating together. God joins with us in the celebration. So maybe you want to celebrate a sober anniversary, a birthday, a wedding anniversary, whatever the new thing in your life is, new babies, new jobs, new homes. We want to celebrate it with you. So we take 3 minutes for this part. If you're online with us, drop your comments in the Facebook section, the YouTube section, wherever the comments are, drop them in there. We want to celebrate with you there. And Calvin's got a mic, Darren's got a mic, and all you got to do is raise up your hand, and they'll get you a mic, and we'll take 3 minutes.
Yeah, my name is Austin. I'm an alcoholic, and yesterday I celebrated 1 year of
Way
continuous.
to go, Austin! Austin's also on our home team. Proud of you, dude.
My name is Layla. I'm an alcoholic addict, 83 days sober today.
Yeah.
My daughter is having a baby boy and just found out today that I've got another baby girl, grandbaby on the way as well.
All right, way to go, Layla. Congratulations.
I'm Holly. I have 145 days clean and sober today.
All right, Holly.
And we have just opened up a new sober living called Crew Sober Living. We are CAR certified, and I'm the house manager. We have flyers over here on the flyer table if anybody has any questions.
All right, Holly, thank you.
I'm Kai. I have 78 days clean off fentanyl today, and I'm going to school for sheet metal in September.
All right, way to go.
Okay, my daughter Riley wanted me to say that she's celebrating the fact that she got to see her dad in the hospital today.
All right, Riley, we'll celebrate that with you.
Hey, I'm Joy. I'm celebrating being halfway done with my rehab recovery today.
All right, Joy. Keep on going.
Hi, my name is Selena Garcia, and I'm celebrating my 13 days of being sober.
All right, way to go. 13 days is big.
Hi, Paul, alcoholic. Celebrated 1 year and 2 days sobriety.
Way to go, Paul.
Hey, I'm Ben, and my daughter wanted to celebrate her 8th birthday last week. And then also my friend Adam, I think he's watched online, but he's got 15 years sober today. So congratulations, Adam.
All right, happy birthday, Madison. Congratulations, Adam.
Good evening, everybody. I got 21 days today. I appreciate y'all.
Way to go, dude.
I'm Tisha. I'm an alcoholic, and one of my friends offered me a house manager position at a sober living yesterday.
All right, Tisha. Congratulations.
I'm Dan. I'm going with 16 months sobriety.
All right, Darren. Dan. Way to go, dude.
I'm Dara, and I'm celebrating 74 days today.
Woo, Dara.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia. I'm 6 months sober today.
All right, Sophia.
I'm Elizabeth, and I have 12 days sober.
All right, Elizabeth. 12 days are big.
I'm Nikki. I have 23 days sober.
All right, Nikki. Man, y'all, well, welcome Tammy Canaday to the stage.
Good evening, guys.
Hi, Tammy.
Go around Kira sound bowls here.
We had 12 days sober, 13 days sober, and
74.
74, 73, 59.
A year.
We had a lot, so y'all are doing it.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday. Nah. Look what I started. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tammy. Happy birthday to you.
Awesome.
Woo!
Thank you. Not embarrassing at all. No.
Not embarrassing at all. She loves it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's join our online community and celebrate with them.
So we got more celebrated 7 years yesterday. Shaila.
All right, Shy. 7 years. Steven says, someone is loving to sing happy birthday. Steven says, celebrating 40th wedding anniversary today. Congratulations, Steven. Happy anniversary.
Ricky says, hi, free fam. Wish I was there. I'm celebrating 31 days clean and sober from fentanyl. That's awesome, Ricky.
Yes. Way to go, Ricky.
Hopefully I can make it there next week. I'm just thankful I can still be there with y'all online. Shout out to my Pathfinders fam too.
Yeah. And you remember Ricky? She was 2 weeks ago. She came
She's
up
up
and
here
closed us in prayer.
praying, yeah.
She was here on her first couple days.
Ricky Bobby.
She was detoxing from fentanyl, and she was struggling, and now she's got how many days? So
That's awesome.
yeah, really cool. This is a YouTube person. Toja Mamisis. T. We're gonna call you T. Torin B. That's what I should have said. Torin B. 7 years sober last week.
Awesome,
Way to go,
Torin.
Torin. That's awesome.
I'm glad you got the hard one, though.
Yeah, I get the hard ones.
Kelly said, my son Aaron is back home for good, I hope. All right, Kelly.
All right, Kelly. We'll celebrate that with you. Thank you, Tammy Canada.
Thank you for the nice song.
Mm-hmm. Darren, I think, is responsible for that. One of you Darrens in the front row. All right, y'all. Last week, we wrapped up our series on Ever Wonder Why, and this week, tonight, we're kicking off a new 4-week series called Overwhelm, Finding Balance in Life and Recovery.
Such a big deal out of this. Just pretending that you're such a strong see what you're doing. I'll find out.
Anyone here ever climbed one of Colorado's 14ers? All right. Oh, a few of you. All right. If you don't know what a 14er is, Colorado has 58 of these things. They're 14,000-foot mountain peaks. You can climb these, popular to climb, especially for you outdoor enthusiasts. Let me ask you another question. Anyone here ever climbed a 14er with a 5-year-old? I win. I got this one. I was crazy enough to do that. Here's how it went down. 2 summers ago, our boy Breck, who is now 7 years old, but he was 5 years old at the time, he said he wanted to do something brave and courageous with Poppy. So we decided together that we were going to climb a 14er. And I told Breck before we set out to this trip, I said, dude, it's hard work. It's going to take everything out of you. It's tough. He said, I know, Poppy, I'm ready. I said, I know, Breck, but man, you're 5 years old. He said, I know, Poppy, I'm ready. And see, sometimes he has this really quiet confidence about him that I don't always know what to do with. So we got up really early that morning before the sun came up, and we packed up all our snacks, all our food, plenty of water for the day. And we set out to the trailhead of Mount Bierstadt, and we started to climb. Now, here's the problem. I grossly underestimated how long it would take to get from the bottom to the top with a 5-year-old. Because, see, he has little 5-year-old legs, and he gets tired. He's got to rest a lot. After several hours of climbing, we made it to the summit. Yeah. A beautiful moment. And here's what I remember most about this moment. It was really difficult to be fully present. Because as soon as we got to the top, I immediately began plotting on how to get back down. Because, see, I'm looking at him, and I know he's tired, and I know I'm tired. And I know from experience that going down is oftentimes harder than getting up. Because your legs are just completely exhausted, and your legs get a little wobbly on the way down, and your knees can buckle. And he's wanting to sit up there and enjoy the moment. He's wanting to get another photo. And Poppy, can I have just one more honey stick? And I'm looking at my watch and I'm thinking, dude, we got to get going, because the thing is, there's not much daylight left, and I don't want to be descending this mountain in the dark. Now he says he wants to do another one with me this summer. We'll see how that goes. There's a fascinating verse and the second book of the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible. Remember, it goes Genesis, then Exodus. It's one of the most fascinating verses in all of Scripture, and I want to share it with you and read through this very simple but fascinating verse. It reads like this. The Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain and stay here." Now, here's what y'all need to remember. The Old Testament or Hebrew Bible is written in the ancient Hebrew language. It means we have translations of this. But that phrase, stay here, in the ancient Hebrew, it's one word, and it's this word, chaya. Say it with me, chaya. Yeah, you could think of a karate chop or a karate kick as you're trying to remember this word, chaya. My boys have been speaking ancient Hebrew for years now, and they haven't even known it. Now, chaya literally translates as to be. Ooh, this is interesting, isn't it? So that means this verse that we just read reads, Moses, come up on this mountain and be on this mountain. Now, if you're like me, you hear that, you think, come on, man. God, could you be any more redundant in your command? Like, I'm sorry, is there another way to do this? Can I climb up this mountain and actually not be on this mountain? And yet, don't miss how profound this command is. Because God is saying to Moses, come up on this mountain and be on this mountain. You see, the Hebrew writers are giving us a God that understands something about human nature. Because is it possible that when Moses gets to the top of the mountain, he would immediately begin plotting on how to get back down? Come up on this mountain and be on this mountain. In other words, Moses, come up on this mountain, and when you get to the top, I want you to be fully present. I want you to be here and all the way here. Yeah. Have you ever had those moments in your life where you're here, but you're not actually here because you're somewhere else? I mean, you're trying to focus on your recovery because you know your recovery matters, and you're trying to stay focused, or you're trying to spend time with your family members or your kids. You're trying to enjoy a dinner with your kids at Red Robin, or you're trying to participate in the things in your life that matter most to you, and it's like you're here, but you're actually somewhere else. You're with all the emails that you have to respond to, or all the phone calls that you have to follow up on. Or you're actually with all the household chores that need to be done. Or you're actually with all the projects that need your final touches. You see, is there anyone here who is feeling overwhelmed by all of life's pressures? And this being overwhelmed is keeping you from being present to your life. It's keeping you from actually experiencing the most beautiful moments that life has to offer. You see, what I know is it is so easy to buy into, live into this culture of restlessness, where you're constantly hustling for your worth. And see, the Hebrew people, those ancient Israelites, Moses' people, they knew something about a culture of restlessness. They knew something about what it was like to hustle for their worth. And this is where the backstory is so important. Because remember, the Israelites, Moses' people, they were taken from their homeland and they were brought into this foreign land of Egypt, where they were forced to live as slaves under the rule of Pharaoh. And remember, they start crying out to God, God, why aren't you doing anything? God, why aren't you rescuing us? God, do you even see us down here? And so God sends Moses to rescue the people. Moses goes to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and he says, Pharaoh, dude, you got to understand, God says to let the people go. And Pharaoh says, dude, are you crazy? I'm not going to let them go. It's starting to get good right now. These slaves work hard. I'm making buku dollars off of them right now. They're building the empire. I'm not going to let them go. Moses said, no, dude, you don't understand. God says you have to let the people go. And Pharaoh just keeps getting angrier and angrier. Pharaoh responds to Moses with these words. Pharaoh continued, The land's people are now numerous, yet you want them to stop their hard work? On the very same day, Pharaoh commanded the people's slave masters and supervisors, don't supply the people with the straw they need to make bricks like you did before. Now, instead, let them go out and gather the straw for themselves, but still make sure they produce the same number of bricks as they made before. Don't reduce the number. That's what life was like in Egypt for these Israelite slaves. Now, long story short, Pharaoh finally gives in. It got bad enough. Pharaoh says, fine, the people can go, and Moses leads them out of that land toward a new land. Now, you might remember they did some wandering as they traveled for many years. And as they wandered together, it was in that time that God calls Moses up the mountain. And some of you might know this. God hands Moses something. Do you remember? God hands Moses a tablet. Not this kind of tablet, though. It was a stone tablet because this is the ancient world. And you might remember, on this tablet, there were 10 things. We commonly refer to these 10 things today as the 10 Commandments. And here's the thing. Even if you don't have any religious upbringing, you probably are familiar with the 10 Commandments because you've heard them as a long list of thou shalt nots. Here's all the things God doesn't want you to do. Here's the rules, and if you can obey the rules enough, then you're good with God. Or here's what we do. How about this one? We reduce them to a debate. Yeah. You know how this goes. Can we post these things in public? Can we post them at the courthouse? Can we post them in our schools? And y'all, every time we do this, every time we reduce it, we totally miss what is happening because God is never about a list of rules. That's religion. That's not God. God hands these 10 things. What was the first one? Remember? God said, you don't need any other gods. Because those gods, they just fill you with guilt and shame. And you need to know I'm doing a new thing here. We're going to roll a new way. And then the second one, you don't need any idols either because the idols are the same as the gods. They just keep demanding more and more and more. They're like the best gods of addiction because what did addiction demand from you? More, more, more. And you could never get enough. You could never be enough. And we don't need the idols. And third, what's God say? God says, don't go putting my name on things where it doesn't belong. Like, don't go attributing things that happen in the world to me, the things I have no part in. Like, don't go look at actions of violence or actions of hate and saying, I have something to do with this. And then you get the fourth one. I think it's the most profound one. Don't miss this. The fourth commandment reads like this. Remember the Sabbath day and treat it as holy. 6 days you may work and do all your tasks, but the seventh day is a Sabbath. Do not do any work on it. Not you, your sons or daughters, your male or female servants, your animals, or the immigrant who is living with you. Now I want you all to imagine with me. How do you think these Israelite former slaves heard this? I mean, was it music to their ears? Could they even comprehend what was being given to them? Can you imagine one of the Israelites in the back of the crowd raising their hand and saying, God, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last one? Yeah, number 4. Because, see, I must have misunderstood something. It sounded like you were telling us not to work on the seventh day. Can you repeat that? And God would say, yeah, remember the Sabbath. Keep it set apart. Don't do any work on that day. And on that day, rest and play and maybe even discover some of your passions. But for God's sakes, don't lay any bricks on that day. What was God saying to them? We ain't in Egypt anymore. In Egypt, you worked 7 days a week making bricks all day, every day. In Egypt, your worth and your value came from meeting your quota of bricks. In Egypt, you were worth what you produced. And now God is teaching them, God is showing them what it's like to be human. You are not a machine, you are human beings. You see, I can't help but wonder, today, have we simply created our own Egypts and Pharaohs? Have we slid into a culture that simply demands more and more bricks? And if we're honest, many of us, we look at ourselves and we say, yeah, but you got to know I'm a pretty good brick maker. I'm a pretty good bricklayer. And like the Israelites in Egypt, our worth and our value is found in making and laying bricks. Am I good enough now? Do you see me now? Can I belong now? Do you accept me now? Am I worthy of love now? Yeah, see, my brothers and sisters, your life is not in Egypt. Your recovery is not in Egypt. God is not a Pharaoh. And sometimes, is it true, we approach God with our bricks almost like we're campaigning for a second term? We stand before God, we say, well, God, I know my approval rating isn't very good right now. And if you look at the TV screen, which is my life, you'll see my approval rating is pretty good, but look at all these bricks. My approval rating is not very good, but look at these bricks. Or God, if you're not convinced, if you're not impressed yet, let me tell you about all the bricks I made and laid over the past 4 years. I know it may not look like much. And God, if you're not impressed yet, let me tell you about my plan for the next 4 years. I'm going to make more bricks. I'm going to lay more bricks. And I think God just says, stop. Stop. I never did an approval rating system anyway. Your standing with me is good. And my love for you was never dependent on how many bricks you could lay. I mean, what was the command? Hayah, to be, to come up on this mountain and be on this mountain, to be fully present, to be all the way here. You know, I sat at my sponsor's kitchen table and I was about 2 days sober. And I had the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous open and I was looking at these 12 steps. And I said, Terry, how fast do you think we can go through these steps? Because I said, Terry, the way I'm looking at it is if we could do 2 steps a week, that means we can be done with this recovery stuff in 6 weeks and I can get on with my life. And it was a dead honest question from my end. Y'all are laughing. I was honest at the time. And Terry looks at me and he says, dude, that ain't the way this stuff works. And I'm not sure I even understand your question. And I thought, what don't you understand? I mean, it seems abundantly clear to me. 2 steps a week, there's 12 steps, 6 weeks. I can be done with recovery and get on with my life. I'll be fixed. You see, I had to learn that this recovery stuff, my recovery, your recovery, it's that heart work. And it can be hard work. It's a lot of work. Man, it can sometimes take everything out of you, but it's different than bricklaying work. You see, I knew at that time in my life I had made such a mess of things. Man, I created a lot of chaos. I hurt people. And see, the thing is, I thought if I could just do this really fast, and if I could do it all, then Tammy, my wife, would be proud of me, and she would see how sorry I was for these messes that I made. I thought if I could do it all and do it really fast, then my friends and family members would be proud of me. I thought my colleagues would be proud of me, and then I could finally prove my worth to them. You see, the problem is I had been and lived in the slavery of addiction for so long that when I came into recovery, I still had a slavery mindset. And that is, what do you demand of me and how can I prove my worth to you? It was like I'd gotten to the top of the mountain, and as soon as I got there, I immediately started plotting on how to get back down. And somewhere along the way, God said, Ryan, are you serious? You think I would rescue you from one slavery just to bring you into another slavery? And Ryan, every time you try to impress me, anytime you try to impress other people, it's like you're here, but you're not really here. You're somewhere else. Yeah, have you ever sat in a 12-step meeting or one of your recovery meetings and tried to impress people? Yeah, because we do that, don't we? We do that sometimes. Because you want to show them how smart you are. You want to show them how experienced you are. You think they are impressed with your bricks, and some of them are. You try to work your way to recovery rather than simply doing the work. And y'all, maybe it's time to put the bricks away. We don't need them. I know sometimes we try to tell ourselves, no, they need these bricks. No, we don't need them. We need you. The real you, the authentic you, the humble you, the gratitude you. We need the real you. Stop trying so hard. Your life, your recovery is not an Egypt. You know, one of the most beautiful lines from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it comes from page 86. And page 86 reads like this: in thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take because we are overwhelmed. So we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought or decision. Then what do? We relax and take it easy. Are any of you feeling overwhelmed with all of life's pressures? Maybe it's time to turn some things over to God and then relax and take it easy. Because the truth is, some of you here tonight, you have thought of God as just this long list of rules that you had to obey, and you knew you could never really live up to all these rules. Or maybe you thought of God as just a being that demanded more and more from you, but you could never really make it. Or maybe you thought that God was just waiting for you to get some of the rules wrong so this God could pounce on you and then tell you how bad you are. My brothers and sisters, that's not God, that's Pharaoh. God is good. In fact, do you see the grace that underlines the whole story? Because what's God say to Moses? God doesn't say, Moses, man, the problem is with you and your fellow human beings, you're just stupid. And you just can't relax. You can't even be. You get to the top of the mountain, then you start plotting on how to get back down. No, God is relational. What's God say to Moses? Hiya. Come up this mountain and be on this mountain. Be fully present all the way here. So I'll close with this. How do you hiya? How do you be fully present? How do you be all the way here? 3 simple tools that have helped me that may help you. The first one is take a deep breath. I mean, seriously, some of y'all just need to breathe. And remember, you're still here. You're still breathing. For most of you, I think your home is still standing. Just take a deep breath. Maybe even you need to turn this thing off. Yeah, turn it off. Step away from the screen. Go on a walk. Remember to breathe and prepare yourself. Practice being present. Because, see, presence, oftentimes, it doesn't just happen. It's something you have to practice and prepare yourself for. And as you're breathing, number 2, pray. Invite God in. And maybe it's just a very simple prayer. God, I'm feeling overwhelmed again. It's me again. I'm overwhelmed. And there's a lot going on in my life, and I'm tempted to start showing my worth through my bricks. So God, fill me with that inspiration because I want to be present to this sacred gift, which is my life. I don't want to miss the most important moments. And as you breathe and pray, number 3, remember who you aren't so that you may remember who you are. You are not what you produce. Your value is not wrapped up in some approval rating system. Hiya. God says, I just want you to be. And by the way, as you're being, I want to haya with you. I want to be with you in those moments. Just be. Because see, here's what I know, y'all. When you are fully present, when you are all the way here, all of the sudden life becomes more than just the demands and the have-tos. You know about the have-tos? That's when, oh, I have to hang out with my kids and take them to this place. I have to do marriage counseling because, my wife, or I have to go to those recovery meetings because, they say my recovery is dependent on hanging out with other recovery people. And I have to. And when you are fully present, those have tos, they transform into get tos. You have to think about all the things you get to do now that you didn't get to do in the past because you were here, but you were actually somewhere else with your addiction. Today, I get to take the day off and climb this mountain with my boy. I get to be present in my marriage because it matters. I get to go to recovery meetings and maybe even use some of the pain of the past and the chaos of the past to help other people. I get to be in relationship with God and be fully present and turn things over. Yeah. When you are fully present all the way here, watch yourself, because the whole thing will start to shift towards gratitude. So I've invited my friend, the great Kiera McAllister, on the sound bowls. And I invited her to just play with us for a couple of minutes. So I invite you to use this time as reflection. Stay quiet. You might even want to close your eyes. Try not to fall asleep, but just close your eyes. And maybe you want to breathe and pray. Invite God in. And remember who you aren't. Take it away, Kiera. Turn it off. There we go, Bobby. You don't even need to come up here. So I'm told each bowl does different things with the chakra system, right? Kira, am I right on this? I'm not even going to try to explain it all because I'll butcher it. But if you have questions for Kira, she'll be sticking around, I think so, after the service, and she would love to explain what each of these bowls does to your innards. Is that the right way to say it? Whatever. She's the master at this, not me, so talk to Kira. All right, y'all. If you're new with us, and thank you for being here, both services, Kira. If you're new with us, you should know that every Saturday night we have a guest storyteller in the house to join me inside the living room to share some of their experience, strength, and hope around the subject that we are discussing tonight. And so I can't wait for y'all to get to know Kristen Haugen. Many of you know her, but you're going to get to know her more in just a moment. Here's what you need to know about Kristen. She's not coming up. She just 2 weeks ago celebrated 2 years sober. Yeah. I said last service, Tammy wasn't here at the last service, but she's here now. And I said, she just always talks about you being such a bright light in this community. And it's true. If you know Kristen, she's a very bright light in this community. She sent me a Facebook message in June of 2021. And it said, hey, I'm looking forward to being part of the free community. It took a couple of months, but then she started coming. And I don't think she's missed a Saturday night since then. So please help me welcome Kristen Haugen up into the living room. Welcome, Kristen. I'm so glad you're here tonight.
Me too.
I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to say about you, other than being 2 years sober. Well, I'm sure we'll get into it. I'm sure Kristen's got a lot of love here tonight. Her sister's here, Annie. I know Annie from way back when. She and her family were part of the church where I was serving as pastor before coming here. So Annie and I actually talked about you before we even ever met. And I know Annie encouraged you to come here. She kept telling you about free, but a big part of your story. So let's just jump right into your story, Kristen.
Okay.
I start with, because I think it's always important for people to know the things that addiction took from you. What are the things it took from you? Where did it lead you? What happened?
Oh, it took my family. It took my sanity. It almost took my job.
When did you start drinking? When was drinking a part of your life?
So I knew it wasn't right when I was up at CSU and I went out and had 12 Long Island iced teas and thought that was normal for a college person. And it just, people started, noticing it around, I don't know how old I was. It was like 2011. They're just like, you don't have to drink every night. You don't need to leave the house to go and get something to drink at a neighbor's house.
Yeah, and your mind said, no,
yeah,
you don't understand. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where the disease of alcoholism takes us.
Yes.
Yes, I do have to do this, and nothing's going to get in my way of doing this.
Yeah.
So you had some other things happen. I know you have the story of your daughter, your parents. Talk to us about some of that. Tell us about your parents first, because I know that was a defining moment in your life.
It was. I had my son in 1997, and that was in August. And in January of 1998, my father passed away. And in 2002, I had my daughter. And in 2003, my mom died. So it was a lot of emotional and a lot of grief. I was extremely close with my parents. And my depression and the alcohol just started to take a hold of me. I couldn't get out of it.
Yeah, and so you kept drinking, depression set in, you started drinking at work,
Yeah.
taking shots at the desk.
Oh, yeah, people were buying me or, bringing me alcohol at work.
And you weren't a bartender, you were like an office job person.
Yeah, sitting at a desk
with a computer. And, you know, in 2020, in March, my daughter had an event, a cardiac event on my kitchen floor. She passed away. She died. And my son, she is still with us. My son gave her CPR. And, you know, the police had to zap her back a couple of times. And in my drinking, I mean, I think I might have been drunk that morning when it happened. They took her to the hospital. We ended up spending a week in Children's Hospital. And the sick thing is that I had people bringing me alcohol during the whole stay. She had, you know, she went into VFib one night, you know, she had a device put in and it kicked in. And I wasn't present for that. Like, I couldn't even go and get the nurses or anything. Someone else had to do it. So it was bad.
Yeah, and when we talk about how addiction pulls us away from life and the most meaningful moments, it's like, yeah, you can be there and not really there at the same time.
Right.
And that's addiction always pulls us, the disease will always pull us away from the things that matter most. It becomes top priority. So after this event, COVID set in. How'd COVID treat you and your alcoholism, Kristen?
Oh, man.
I think last service your exact words were, it kicked my ass.
It kicked my ass. Not that I got it. I didn't get it until recently, but it kicked my ass in that, you know, they sent us home March 13th. I can remember that day because, you know, I didn't necessarily want to work from home. I knew what was going to happen. And my drinking just like was, you know, on fire. My roommate, Michelle, and I were feeding off of each other, our addiction, our alcoholism. And that December, I couldn't figure out why I was gaining weight, and I was just really puffy. And I went to the doctor, and that night they called me after getting blood work done, and they said, you need to go to the emergency room right now. And if you can't drive, we're going to send you an ambulance. And I ended up with a deep vein or a portal vein thrombosis. It was going into my liver, a blood clot going into my liver. They drained I have 4 cups of ascites fluid, which is really pretty. I was bright yellow. And they told me, if you keep drinking, if you continue to drink, you will die. And I went home. I was sober. My roommate, Michelle, got sober. On the 31st, I went home, New Year's Eve. And that was it. We quit drinking. She stayed sober. After 62 days, I thought I could go out and do some research. And
how'd that work out for you?
Oh my God, it sucked. It did not work. And it snowballed. It really snowballed after that 62 days. Yeah.
So I know things got bad enough for you drinking vodka in the garage, which, by the way, I was a vodka garage drinker. How many of y'all are vodka garage drinkers out there?
Yeah.
Not anymore. That was our past, right?
Right.
Hopefully. Things got bad enough. You went to treatment.
I did.
Where did you go and why?
So my cousin Shelly was at my brother's house. It was a serendipitous meeting, I think. I was begging to go to the liquor store, and she had been to just be there at my brother's house, giving advice on memory care for his father-in-law. And while I'm drunk, asking to go to the liquor store, she said, I need to talk to you. She was a nurse, and she was a nurse at Harmony Foundation like 20 years ago, and said, you really ought to consider going to this place. They really do good work.
Yeah, and I said it last service, and I'll say it again. I know we have some Harmony folks here. Do we have yeah, they're hooting and hollering like they do. Hey, if you're watching online or you're here, or maybe you're a family member here, you have a loved one, there are great treatment options here in Colorado. Harmony is one of them. Harmony does great work. I have great friends at Harmony. I I know Recovery at Harmony, they do great work. And so if you're looking for treatment center option, check into Harmony. And mind you, it's in Estes Park, Colorado, which is one of the most beautiful places on earth. So it feels like you're going to a camp almost.
Yes.
Kind of.
My coworkers called it my summer camp for drunks, so whatever.
Yeah.
When I was gone for a month.
I went up and visited there. Just me and Sailor were doing a wedding up there.
I saw that.
And visited there for the first time. And just a really cool place. And
It is.
again, just doing great work. So
And lots of good therapy
great
going
people.
on. And
Yeah. So you get into recovery, you're working your recovery. What's it been like to actually be present to your life today? Or tell us, how are you actually able to be present to your life today?
Well, I show up for work every day. That's a key.
That's a big one.
Cool. And I receive accolades at work all the time. My family trusts me again. I get invited to things, family events that I'm not going to embarrass myself or others.
Yeah, and I know in your drinking career, you and I had a very similar experience where we had sisters in our life who loved us enough to say some very difficult things to us, to tell us when we were no longer welcome because of our drinking.
Right.
And I know that's a hard thing to hear. It fills you with shame in the moment until later you can look back and see it was actually an act of love.
Right.
And now you get to show up. Now you're invited to those family events and you get to participate fully.
Yes.
And you know what you said to me the other day? You said, I'm a social butterfly again.
I am.
Yeah.
I used to be that, and I wasn't that. I was just in my office, like my home office. I would go from the couch, for the desk to the couch, and just till I passed out. And that's no fun.
Yeah.
I'm rarely home now. It's just no fun.
Yeah. And tell us, what role does God play in your life now? And did God play a role in your life when you were active in your addiction? And what role does God play now?
He did not play a part. He was not part of my life at all before. And I personally choose to call my, God, he's my higher power. He's with me all the time. And when my ego, sneaks in and tries to talk me into making bad decisions, God's there.
Yeah.
And I know that I can talk to him and he'll show me the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for anyone out here or anyone online who's joining us from a sober living house or a living room or their kitchen table, because I know each and every week we have people, tonight we have 12 days sober, 13 days sober, whatever days. Sometimes it's 0 days. Sometimes people tune in because they don't want to walk in these doors and they're still drinking, and totally cool. We want those people to tune in, right? You're our people. But what would you say to them? The ones barely hanging on, wondering, man, should I? Maybe I could still beat this alcohol stuff. Maybe I could beat it.
I would say that if you're questioning yourself, if you're questioning whether you can, I've got this, then you don't. If you are saying, maybe I do, you don't. If you have to question it and say that, seek help. Talk to your friends. Find a meeting. And there are so many good treatment centers here in Colorado that will show you the way.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Kristen. Thank you for being a part of this community. Let's hear it for Kristen Haugen. I'm so glad you were here. Oh, don't fall over.
Oh, shit.
I believe you. Oh, I know what I was going to say about Kristen. This is worth hearing, actually. Kristen was, you can go, you can walk down. That's cool. I'm just going to say it. Kristen, when I called her to invite her to be our guest storyteller, I said, Kristen, this is Ryan. Would you consider being our guest storyteller? And she said, oh my goodness, I'm on a treadmill. I've got to step off the treadmill. She said, my heart rate just went up. I'm all nervous. And when we met, she was nervous. And here's what you all need to know, because talk about doing brave and courageous acts. This was her first time tonight sharing her story publicly, and she knocked it out of the park, didn't she? Thank you, Kristen. All right, y'all. The way we close things down here on a Saturday night is very similar to the way we begin. We begin with celebrations, but we close with heartaches because what we know is we carry these burdens and we try to carry them alone, and we find out that we suck at carrying them alone. So we do it together as a community. We pray for one another. We encourage one another. And we have a God who always hears the cries of the people. So a very important part of our time together, we call these heartaches. If you have a heartache, raise up your hand, and Darren will bring you a mic, or the other Darren will bring you a mic. That is so cool. We have two Darrens that do mic passing. Anyway, if you're online, just drop your heartache in the YouTube comments or Facebook comments, and we'll join with you there. Let's take 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I just want to lift up my friend's family. His name is AJ, and he passed away today. He has 2 young children.
Yeah. We just heard about this today, and AJ had been here for the last couple of weeks. Prayers for AJ's family and loved ones. Thanks for sharing that with us.
My name's Bailey, and I just found out that my roommate in sober living just relapsed on alcohol, and she's like my best friend in the house. So,
prayers for her and her relapse, and all those out there relapsing and still suffering.
My name's Riley, and I prayed for my dad in the hospital.
All right, Riley, we're praying for your dad. Thank you for sharing that with us. Praying for you too.
Hey, my name is Ben, and we're lucky to be part of the Positive Recovery Program, and we help foster dogs. But a couple of the dogs we've fostered in the past, their mom went back into detox, so we're just wanting some prayers for her while we get lucky enough to have the dogs back, right, Maddie?
All right. What important work y'all doing. Prayers for you guys in that and that person.
hey, I'm Joy. I would just ask if everybody could pray for my mom. She has muscular dystrophy right now, and it's really taking a toll on her life.
Joy, prayers for your mom tonight and in the days ahead.
I'm Kaylee, and I'd also like to ask for prayers for my mom. She's getting ready to start 6 weeks of chemotherapy and radiation for lung cancer. It's her second time through. So any prayers and support would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I'm Major. I'm a policeman, and I want to.
Man,
Thank you.
I'm gonna celebrate that, dude. I think he said he's a policeman. Man, I'm celebrating you, dude. And prayers for your mom, Kaylee.
I'm Anika, and my daughter's 9 years old, and I'm currently in recovery, and so I'm just praying for my daughter.
All right, Anika, where are you? I couldn't see who's
Right here.
Oh, in the back. Okay. Prayers for you, Anika. Thank you for sharing with us.
Hi there, my name is Buddy. We have an aunt in the family who went into the hospital yesterday. It's pretty serious. Just waiting to hear what it is. So if you could lift her up and lift up her close family as well, the people who love her.
All right. Prayers for the family, buddy.
Hey guys, Bobby, tech team lead back here. I just want to ask for prayer for Matt. He's been working with us, and he checked himself into PVH last week.
Yeah, Matt on the tech team. Prayers for you, buddy. Glad you're part of this community, lifting you up.
Michelle, alcoholic. I'd like to pray for my mother's husband who fell in the kitchen and broke his femur all the way through, like right up at his hip bone, mid-70s. So he had surgery and is in rehab probably for a hot minute. So
Yeah,
he's
prayers
not
for
doing
him.
great.
The femur breaks hurt. We got one more. Let's get one more in the middle section there.
Two back here.
Okay. Well, we're going to go a little longer, so let's do one more than two back there. Then online people, you just got to bear with us for a moment.
Okay. I want to send a prayer to my one of my best friend's old bosses. He was found unresponsive in his house, and he's currently in the hospital for alcoholism. It's looking like he's probably not going to make it, so just condolences to his family, and yeah.
Prayers for the family, man. Thanks for sharing that with us.
My name's Katrina. I'm an alcoholic. I've been 2 weeks sober, and I joined a sober living, and I might lose my dog, which is my everything. So prayers I might be able to keep her or not put her up for adoption.
Yeah, prayers for you and prayers for your dog. And seriously, talk to Positive Recovery if you haven't been. Just mention them.
My name is Nico, and I've been locked up for a long time. And today is day 4 being out of prison, and I have a year clean and sober. But I pray for just my recovery and my tribe house that we stay successful.
Hey, that we're going to celebrate you and pray for you. We're glad you're here. Oh, and yeah, Darren's going to come on up, and you got one more.
I got one. My name's Kira, and our neighbor lost his wife unexpectedly yesterday. His name is Mark. You guys could pray for him.
Prayers for Mark and the family. All right, man. We had a lot tonight, Darren. Thank you for being up here.
Yeah, thanks for having me up.
Yeah. Y'all know Darren Valdez.
Hello.
The Executive Director of CARE, Colorado Artists in Recovery. Yeah. It's good to have you up here.
Yeah.
All right, you take the first one, then I'll take the second one.
Hiya.
Hiya. I love it.
Roger Weishart, asking for prayers for my daughter Kayla's boyfriend Steve. He's been hospitalized tonight, suffering from alcohol addiction. Prayers for Kyla's boyfriend Steve.
All right, Steve, lifting you up, dude. Frank says, prayers, my friend Sue is struggling with a relapse. Thank you. Frank, we are praying for your friend Sue, who is struggling, and we have a few people struggling with relapse. So lifting all of you up who are still suffering. Hey, that was short, man. Thanks for joining me up here for it, though, Darren. I always appreciate it. All right. You know what? I told the wagon story at the last service. I think I should tell it again at this service. Don't you agree? I think you need to know what the wagon is before we leave here tonight, because see, the wagon is a central image of this in this community. When we started in our backyard in 2018, we had a little wooden wagon that sat against the tree, and it was very intentional. We have a custom-built wagon just outside these doors. We do baptisms in the custom-built wagon. We do the whole dunking thing. It's kind of cool. And here's the story of the wagon, why it's a central image here at Free, why we say we are the wagon and be the wagon. A few years ago, I was at the LA Rescue Mission, one of the largest rescue missions in the country, and we were taking a tour with the executive director, and he took us to the top floor. And on the top floor, they have their memorabilia wall, like pictures of their history. And the largest picture hanging on the wall is this black and white photo of a wagon. And I said, dude, what's the story with the wagon? He said, you don't know the story about the wagon? And I said, no, but apparently I need to know. So he told me the story of the wagon. This wagon was how they got started in the late 1800s. It would go in late at night into the roughest parts of LA, and it would distribute things like food, clothing, Bibles, other items. And then at the end of the night, they would welcome anyone who wanted to get on the wagon to jump on the wagon and head to a place of recovery. Now, what happens when you get a bunch of drunks on a wagon? Some of them fall off. Now, what was so meaningful about this story is he said when that would happen, this wagon would stop and the sober ones would jump off and help the drunk ones back on because they knew where they were headed, to a place of recovery. And I heard that story and I thought, man, if we ever start something new, we're going to have the wagon be the central image. And I meant it so much, I got a tattoo of it on my neck. So now it's just stuck with me. But that's why we say we are the wagon and we try to be the wagon. And one of the most important ways, a very important way for us to be the wagon together, is through your generous giving. And seriously, I say this each week. We're really grateful for your giving in this community, for those of you that have made that a spiritual practice in your life, a sacrificial practice. Without you, we don't exist. Your generous giving helps keep the mission thriving of breaking the silence of addiction, and I hope you see how important it is. There's 2 giving boxes. There's one here, and there's one just outside these doors. If you feel compelled to give, if you call this place home, we really encourage generous giving. And if you're an online giver, a digital giver like we are, well, you might be interested in one of these 3 options. There's the app. You can download the app. It's free. It's called Free Spiritual Community. All our content is on there. All the guest storytellers are on there, the messages, and there's a giving button. You can click on it and give there, or go right to the website, freespiritualcommunity.com, and you can give there weekly, monthly, one time, however you want to do it, or you can text the number on your screen, and it'll walk you through a very simple set of instructions. Your giving here helps keep the mission thriving, so thank you for being a part of it. All right, y'all. Yeah, we can clap for that. Give yourselves a hand. Shall we go out with a prayer? Yes, that is the appropriate answer, by the way. No one has said no yet. That's going to creep me out if someone said no. All right. So I invite you to open up your hands. It's a sign of openness. Open to Spirit moving in your midst. And you can take a big deep breath and be reminded that when you feel God is distant, God is in your breathing. It's like God saying, how can I get any closer? I'm already in your breath. If you don't know the third step prayer, it'll be on your screen, and it goes like this. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Amen. My free brothers and sisters, this week, may you be fully present and all the way there, and we'll see you next time.